Hi guys, welcome to another one of our videos. Hope you enjoy this one. This is from a week I spent wet turning bowls, which you've already seen a little bit of. This is kind of the expanded video because I spent 9 days processing some wet wood I'd got into blanks so that they'd start drying more rapidly than as logs, knowing that I was going to have to deal with them at a later date. I didn't realise quite how quick I was going to have to deal with them because the temperature dropped here and I've had to artificially heat the garage, which has made it artificially dry, so everything's drying out quicker than necessary. So I jumped on them. Being that it was before Christmas, I had some commissions to do and some pieces to say thank you for people that had donated to Making a Better Life. So in this video you're going to see a little bit of all of those, and hopefully it's something of interest. Please hit like, subscribe, leave a comment, anything that can help us grow the channel, because ultimately everything that I'm doing and we're doing here is to help people that are stuck in a bad situation, keep them motivated and get them back working. So you take care guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Over the summer I had to cover Earth for a friend who's a tree surgeon, and I brought home quite a lot of wood. Here I've got I think a nugget of apple there, and I let it build up and I left it out and uncovered, and it was just beginning to check when I finally had some time to do something about it. So it took me a week to process all of the wood by chainsaw and get to a rough turn and glued up stage. We're probably closer to about 9 days actually. Now here you can just see me slabbing up one specific piece because it just happens to relate to the to one of the bowls I've got footage of. Don't watch my chainsaw skills here. Every now and again we have an off day, and it's the first time I was using this little saw we were donated, and I make a bad cut, and after neating it up. And please understand, this video is not, it's a demonstration only, it's not an instructional video. Don't copy my technique at all. Please follow your own safety procedures and understand your tools that you're going to use. So I don't get the footage of my next cut, but that's where I make it, and the wood towards the camera from that line is where the ball blank I used came from. This is quite an advanced cut. Never try stuff like this guys. So this as an example is what I tend to do, is I loosely offer up a set of dividers until they're drawing a circle on the wood, and then I scribe that circle. Then I jump up onto the bandsaw with it and either nip the corners off if it's an awkward sized and shaped blank, or cut it to round. It just makes the whole truing up process quicker. Now I'm just really going to show you the one bowl, well the bulk of one bowl here, but I might as well show you what the entire week looked like, so I'm going to rely on high-speed footage. So as you can see, it was just rotate backwards and forwards. During the day I'd cut up as much wood as I could, and then in the evening I'd cut on the bandsaw. Finally got up onto the lathe. Again, I didn't happen to get footage of me cutting this blank to round. I have a feeling this was the one that I kinked my bandsaw blade cutting though, unsurprisingly. Yeah, so this is apple. It had been cut for about a month at this stage. Didn't begin to check, it did once I brought it indoors, so I picked out the nicest blank and thought I'm going to turn something that I want to keep. So I went for a classical OG shape, not bothering about truing it up all the way across, just taking the corner off and getting it into round, getting a tenon on the inside, and then getting myself a nice profile, which I'm happy with. I also made the decision on this bowl to do non-uniform wall thickness for two reasons. The first was one of those beautiful design changes when a big chunk flew off and presented an inclusion, so I couldn't take the inner walls as thin as I'd like. But then I decided to still take the rim thin because I thought that the strength in the body would keep it from going oval, but the rim might undulate up and down. And until I've done it a second time, I'm not going to say I'm proven correct, but it did exactly what I was hoping it'd do. So I sanded it up through the grits to, I believe, 320 before using Yorkshire grit, and then I believe I used Chestnut's Food Safe finish inside and out on this bowl, using a paintbrush there to clean off between grits, remove any excess abrasive. Yeah, I really like the Chestnut's Food Safe finish. It applies very quickly. You can get a nice sheen, yet a matte finish. It seems to be quite durable. In fact, it seems to repel water. Yes, there you can see standard Yorkshire grit after 320, and then the Food Safe. As for its durability, I've not been able to test that because I've not been using it that long, but I'm really enjoying it. And my preferred finish routine at the moment is Chestnut's hard wax oil on the outside of bowls and the Food Safe finish on the inside. I didn't go with the hard wax finish on the outside of this one though, specifically because of that inclusion. Now, whilst you can apply hard wax oil over an inclusion quite well, sometimes when you're buffing out you do get wax deposits, and there was still a bit of bark on that, so I went with the Food Safe outside as well. But as you can see here, flip around, holler out, rinse and repeat. I'm going to finish off a beach bowl because it started cracking out. I don't want it to, even through the glue. It's just drying out a little too quick. I've had to try and get it warm in here in the workshop, and it's perhaps not doing it any favours, and it does have quite a bit of pith still in it, so I'm going to try and turn it to finish. So as you'll see here, it wasn't just the one bowl. There were quite a few blanks I'd hollowed out and left the tenon in the centre for truing up. They were drying too fast because I've had the temperature high in the garage. It's been so cold outside. So I just zipped through these, hollowed them out. A big one outboard, which we decided to keep, is really lovely, and I managed to get a nice thin wall thickness except for the rim. So it's quite light, which is good for my mother, who's got bad wrists. So yeah, it's been really good doing a lot of bowls, both getting through the ones that are drying too quickly, and as you'll see shortly, I did a production run of a few commissions that were as thank yous for donations that we'd had. This ash burr and a Wenge winged bowl that you'll see shortly. I've generally been sticking with that same rule of chestnut hard wax oil on the outside, Food Safe finish on the inside. It's just working for me. Although with the nature of the ash burr, I used the Food Safe inside and out. I just found an oil finish easier. Oh, in fact, I tell a lie, I may have used lemon oil on the outside. Branded up the pieces as usual, thinking of making a new brand actually. That's one's getting a bit tired. And then I had to play with some magnolia. It threw out all of its moisture, it seemed, as soon as it got over 400 RPM, but it ended up taking a lovely finish, and everything else I've got's dried rapidly and not cracked, so I'm quite hopeful for this, particularly as quite a blank canvas for some colouring. Yeah, it really did finish well. It got some lovely chatoyans actually. And then after that I gave the lathe a really good cleaning down with some solvent, and then sprayed it up with silicone lubricant. Just made sure everything was nice and clean and running free. I didn't need to do any servicing on any parts, just clean under the headstock and lock her back down in position. And I did centre her up using a double-ended 2-most taper. I had a few little chunks out of my tool rest, so using a file that's graduated coarseness, that is, it's coarser on one side than the other, I dressed her off, then finished off with a few abrasives and gave it a buff with some, well, a hone with some honing compound and leather. Got a nice shine on it. It's just worth, when you've been doing a lot of work with wet wood, putting your lathe to bed nice and clean and dry. I didn't do this every day. I did it when I knew I was going to be leaving the lathe for a day or two. Of an evening, I normally would just wipe it down with a lightly oiled rag. Thanks for watching.